Welcome, everyone, to this completely unnecessary podcast for Tuesday, August 25th, 2020. The state's on fire. My name is Pat Contry alongside Ian Ferguson. On the show today, we'll be talking about Batman teaser, the Batman, Netflix high score, Battletoads, I Am 8-Bit cartridge, a Neo Geo tabletop arcade, a Scumbag Sale of the Week, Patreon poll topic, blah, blah. First, Ian, you have a Yokoi Kids second print run that you can order right now at...
We do. tinyurl.com/Yokoi Kids Zine. That's YOKOI Kids Zine. Yes, so if you've been following on the podcast, Yokoi Kids put out the Yokoi Kids Annual Volume 1 2 weeks ago. The first print run sold out. We are currently in an open pre-order for the second print run. So we are going to, it's going to be open.
It's open.
It's going to be open for about a week.
You know what's also open? Getting enamel pins. T-shirts that are limited.
I was going to run down what the Yokoi Kids Zine was again, real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
For people who didn't know.
You said the last 3 weeks. I thought by now, at first you didn't explain whenever it was.
Hammering it home.
You're learning from Pat. Hammer it home.
25 games, multiple writers, multiple artists, 90 pages, $8.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, once you're done ordering that, go to ultimatenintendo.com for certain guidebooks and T-shirts that are limited. And even these RBI baseball stickers. But if you're in the UK now, I have an official, unofficial UK distributor for the Super Nintendo books and soon for the NES books, and you'll save a little bit versus buying directly from across the pond, as they say. Ian, if you're in Europe,
they say.
You want to go to it's Puka Puka Games, Ian. It's pukapukagames.co.uk. PUCA games.co.uk, and you can buy games and consoles and accessories and merch and other things. You know, they got some games for sale, Game Boy Color systems, Nintendo 3DS, or you can get the guidebook there as well. And that's actually run by our ex-editor of the podcast, Kieran.
Friend of the podcast, Kieran.
Employee and friend of the podcast, ex-employee of the podcast there. And I'm also, of course, I'm on Cameo. Cameo.com/PatCountry for all your wedding and breakup needs, and shout outs if you want to book me there. So, oh yeah, and join on YouTube. We're done with that. Okay, we have a update to the Epic Apple lawsuit. Obviously, it went in front of a court because there was so much going on. You know, the court has to come in and preliminary say, okay, this is bullshit, or this goes forward because all this crap's getting flown around. So basically, it's going the way we predicted. Ian and I have our law degrees. We know how this stuff works out. So
it's very, very fancy lawyers.
So a TRO, temporary restraining order from Epic, went through so that the Unreal Engine cannot just be thrown off because that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
By the judge said, what did they say here? Apple is hard pressed to dispute that even if Epic Games succeeded on the merits, it could be too late to save all the projects by third-party developers relying on the engine that were shelved while support was unavailable. So I mean, even if Apple threw them out and then they came back in, you're already screwed. You screwed.
Right.
So you can't just get rid of it willy-nilly. Apple has chosen to act severely, and by doing so has impacted non-parties and a third-party developer ecosystem, which is what everyone said. Like, this is insane. Like, there's no basis for this. So they'll still go to trial for that, but now it's like they're gonna have to prove that first.
Right before, yeah.
And then the other thing now. Fortnite's not back on the iOS store, which I didn't think that was going to happen either. So that's going to go to trial. So this is going to be a long, drawn-out thing for both of these. But there's no way Apple's going to be able to toss the Unreal Engine. I don't see that happening.
No, that's nuts. That's throwing out the baby with the bathwater.
There you go, Ian. That's an old-timey saying that's still around.
There we go.
Was there ever anyone that threw out the baby with the bathwater by accident? I wonder. You know, this bucket's a little heavier than usual. What's going on here? You know, I just don't want to picture that. I just did. Epic and Apple met in court via Zoom. That would be funny as hell. To determine when it's a new world, Ian. Pandemic. Yeah. Court cases in Zoom. Can I do jury duty? I'd do jury duty if it was Zoom. I think I would show up.
Go to the.
I don't have to go all the way down to the courthouse and get a snack and walk real quick, come back with a snack and listen to it.
I did jury duty once, and it made me. And then we got cut free after like 2 days of the trial because there was potential witness tampering, or not. I'm sorry, jury tampering.
They were. Hey, you want $20? or they threaten you? Hey,
they didn't offer me anything, but I always wondered what happens during jury duty if you have to go to the bathroom.
You don't. You hold it. I guess.
I wonder how many people pee their pants.
I'm sure you can raise your hand and the judge will be like, all right, what is it? Okay, go.
Yeah, just curious about that because I drink a lot of coffee. During that time, I would drink a lot of coffee in the morning, and I'd be like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Luckily, I didn't have to put it to the test.
My jury duty was, it was a week, but it was a week as they were deciding the jury. But I still had to go every day and sit in the back as they tossed off jurors. They start by selecting their 20. Yeah. The 12 and the reserves, and they start tossing them off each side. It was a civil suit, a lot of money at stake. So each prosecution, defense, they both toss off people. So I'm sitting there like, I mean, this might get to me eventually, but there's like 35 people but back here. I just think
toss off is like.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Tosser. All right, so anyway, that's what's going on with Epic and Apple. This is the start. It's going to go on for like a year probably here, but you're not going to see Fortnite back on probably iOS for a while. It's going to drag on and on there. We got a job opening. I'm headhunting now, Ian. I'm officially a headhunter. I'm getting a 10% finder's fee. We're looking, Ian, for a senior system software engineer for Intellivision Entertainment.
I was gonna say we are, or
no. Yeah, so I'm headhunting officially. I was contacted to do this. You will take on the senior system software engineer position, working with our hardware and firmware teams on the hand controllers of a new video game console. You'll be part of the team that develops the underlying operating system and SDK, which is software development kit, for these feature-rich embedded controllers. So, it's definitely something that was going to be finished and out to people this fall when you're still developing the controllers.
Controllers definitely sound like future accessories.
Yes, it's future accessories, your controllers that your system needs to actually function and ship. So, there you go. Just want to put that out there. If everyone out there wants to work on a project like this, and it definitely doesn't sound like they've probably lost employees during this time. Probably. No. Probably not. Okay. Hey, if you start me up, Windows 95 25th anniversary. We just came and went. Ian, what are your Windows 95 memories?
Windows 95 reminds me of probably the time I was most into computers. Because I remember going to the store with my friend Toby to pick up Windows 95. I also remember going to the store with my friend Toby to get OS2 Warp shortly thereafter.
OS2 Warp?
To try that.
I remember that.
But yeah, that obviously did not stay on the computer for very long. But yeah, I remember the ad campaign. I remember, going and picking it up with my friend. I remember running DOS games on Windows 95, but having to do it in like the compatibility modes, essentially.
You didn't boot the DOS like me and try to just load it up?
You could do that too.
That's what I was doing.
So yeah, I mean, I definitely remember it, and it was weird to me because it's the only time in my memory that I remember an operating system getting that much mainstream.
Oh yeah,
press.
It was a big deal.
I mean, it was
news
huge.
Stories, campaigns, huge marketing campaigns. Rolling Stones start me up video. I mean, it was huge. This was the time when computers were starting to go super mainstream finally.
Yes.
Mid-90s, multimedia, CD-ROM. People were starting to get those fucking free AOL discs every other week in the mail. Mid-90s. Want to even say 94. It started in 93. But we're past the difficulty of using a computer. We're getting to the point where it's becoming more accessible to everyone. Because DOS ain't accessible to most people. During the DOS days, not many people had computers. They just didn't. You needed something that made computers accessible and easy. And while 3.1 did it a little bit, 3.1 was not the solution. You still needed to be a mechanic, so to speak, using a computer. There was a lot of shit in 3.1 that didn't work still. You couldn't add hardware easily on 3.1.
No.
The plug and play came with 95. Like, that was a huge thing. Plug and play,
yes, was one of the biggest things.
Put your Sound Blaster card in your computer. Hopefully your Windows 95 will recognize the damn thing, or if not, you can like go to the driver database.
Right.
Before that, it was tough. It was a little bit tough going into a DOS prompt and going to the IRQ settings and setting it like that was a thing. That's why you had people crash software in games. But that still happened with Windows 95. You still had crashes.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't really stable until 98. Windows 95. Like once 98 was like super stable. 95 you still was like crapshoot. Click on something, it might run today, tomorrow it may not run. So that to me is a transition period. 95 is when computers became more mainstream. Because before that, you still look like you look at some of like the stores at the time, people rushing the store. These are people that are older that are excited about Windows 95. These are that was the computer market was older, middle-aged people. You know, you had to be educated and like learn about a computer to use it. You know, it's kind of like being like in order to drive a car, you have to be a mechanic. Kind of imagine if that had to be like that was kind of how it was for computers. You had to know at least a little bit about how the computer ran in order to run some of the software. And now Windows 95, it dumbed it down for everyone, which was what we needed.
Yep.
Right? That's what we needed. We needed, you know, imagine trying to use a tablet today and having to like have it crash randomly on programs.
There are some images on The Verge that are amusing of the Windows 95 launch, including this guy wearing a bandana, excitedly holding up 2 copies of it in what looks like a Computer City or similar store.
Oh, really? Let me see that.
It's all the way, scroll all the way down to the bottom.
Scroll. Oh, he's excited.
He's very excited.
45-year-old excited with the bandana.
Yep.
Yeah, they're all older people. They're all computer tech heads. That's how computers used to be. If you're a Zoomer, you don't realize that. You take it for granted. Yeah, and look at the giant Windows 95 boxes.
Yeah,
hanging. That's insane. And it came with the Microsoft network loaded up. I was on the Microsoft network. We did have that as our ISP for like I want to say a year. And
never used it.
And the one thing I remember about it still, it was better than AOL because you could still like go out to Internet Explorer and use it. You don't have to use it through AOL's, you know, you can boot out, basically get out of there and still do it. But you still have some of the trappings of the Microsoft network. Oh, learn about news today or sports, curated stuff.
People forget that, you know, it took I don't remember which version it is at this point, but it took a while for AOL to have you couldn't just load up the internet with AOL. It took a long time for AOL to even have a portal to the web where you could browse the web from within AOL. I think there was like its own web browser, but that was not an immediate thing.
No, not at the start. So the Microsoft network, we had that. And the one thing I remember the most that was revolutionary, the chat rooms, Ian, were comic strips. And you created your own avatar. It was so cool. I got to find pictures of it online. I had a tiki head. And so instead of just chatting in the chat room, like, it did little comic strips. It's like it just drew out things for you. You know, it would go to like zoom in. There was probably like 10 different images that would go back and forth, but you can do like different expressions and things. And is anyone out there besides me? Did I chat with you back in 95 or 96 out there, or even 94? Whatever the hell I had Microsoft Network 95. So it was built in there. I don't know a lot of people had it because I don't think Microsoft Network lasted more than like 3-4 years without even looking. I don't think it lasted. Because by year 2000, there were so many mom and pop ISPs that came about that were cheaper and better, you know, and they weren't just going off of how much data you use and things like that, or minutes, or whatever the fuck it was. They were unlimited, which was not a thing until like the late 90s for the most part. One of the things about 95 came with the Weezer music video.
Oh yeah, that's right, it did.
In like 240 times like 180 resolution.
Yep.
But that was big.
Mm-hmm.
That was big. And it came with your favorite pack-in games, right?
Space Cadet Pinball.
I was going to say, you better think of it since you mentioned it every week.
I love Space Cadet Pinball. A
step up from Minesweeper. And we were trying to think about the legacy of Windows 95 gaming. There really isn't a legacy. Because the more Ian, we're going over a list of Windows 95 games, then Ian said, well, it has to be native to 95, meaning it's not just booting to DOS from 95. Most of the games didn't do that.
Right. No, there was actually not that many. And I remember my friend and I being, upset at the time. Because, I mean...
You're upset about that?
We were like, well... We were fucking nerds. I mean, that's all we did was sit around on our computers all day. So, like, yeah, the operating system thing was exciting, and then there was nothing. And it was funny because we're looking over a list of games that, like, are, like, native to it, and you were like... Pitfall, the Mayan Adventure, and I actually and I remember that. I remember playing that with the Gravis gamepad on
The 4-button controller?
Yeah, on Windows 95, because it was one of the few games that was out around then that was, I believe, Windows 95 only. I don't think there was like a DOS version.
Sure. Then I try to think about it. Like Hover was on there. We're not talking like blockbuster titles. So then I try to think, did I buy any games that were Windows 95 native? And then the only one that came to mind, Ian.
Oh yeah, I absolutely remember Hover. Yeah,
I remember playing it because it was demoed. It was packed in. I
Yeah.
think it's a demo. It's a little, almost like a tech demo, third person. Little, you're in a hovercraft.
First person. Yeah.
Yeah, first person. Privateer 2, I always give that game a handy. But I played the DOS version.
Right.
It would crash randomly in DOS, but not too often. Like once every 3 or 4 hours it might crash. So save often on those planets. But they came out with the Windows 95 version like a year and a half later. I don't remember that being more stable. That I had problems with that.
Sure.
But it was a gimmick to say Warcraft 2 had a Windows 95 version, Battle.net edition that was supposed to be that. But at least in my mind, they weren't more stable. They still crashed. It wasn't again until 98 when they hammered out the bugs. There was still DOS in 98, right? They didn't get rid of that until XP.
Yeah, I don't think it was until XP that you had no real actual
no DOS architecture anymore. So yeah, there is no real Windows 95 gaming legacy. It just allowed more people to play computer games.
Well, yeah,
made it easier to play.
Specifically,
Yes.
no, but Windows 95 in general made computers far more accessible for people, which opened up PC gaming for a lot of people, regardless of whether or not the games they were playing were Windows 95 specific or not.
Yeah, like in the plug and play stuff, it was a lot easier, I believe, to create folders to groups. Think about that. It was a big deal to make folders and shit. It was easier than 3.1 to do some of these things. It just made it a better It was kind of revolutionary. Of course, someone's going to say something like, "Oh, what about the Mac OS at the time?" No one had a fucking Mac. They were too much money, and there was no software for them. It was tough. So anyway, that's Windows 95. All right, you want to talk about this Twitch story, Ian?
Yeah. So
from Phil Tyler, 85 different nachos, which is a great name.
5 different nachos. So basically, what happened is on Twitch, there are programs that people can use that will translate text to speech. And a lot of times, streamers will use that for people who make donations or subscribe, and it will read out what they say.
It's an automated thing.
Right. When they donate, it generally highlights what they say. So,
I believe it's actually built into Streamlabs OBS. You can turn it on or off. I have it off. So if you donate, it gets highlighted, but also can say it instead.
You can say it out loud.
I think.
So what happened was over the weekend is Burger King, the ad agency that Burger King had recently hired, I believe it was ad agency Ogilvy, by one of its teams, David Madrid. Basically, they were going around to different streams and donating the $5 minimum and then typing out a Burger King ad so that the Burger King ad was read out loud to everyone in the Twitch stream, which is kind of funny, but at the same point in time, it's also really, really shitty because there are well-known avenues in place to do this sort of advertising and this sort of sponsorship. So basically, Burger King was, Burger King has the advertising money. They have the money to do this. But basically, they were going around and, paying basically nothing to these streamers to then have an ad read on their stream. The thing that I think is particularly gross is the streamers themselves had no say whether or not they weren't contacted about this beforehand. So whether they wanted it or not, they got the ad.
Well, that happens with anything that's, if someone gives you $5 and you can't control it, usually it's automated.
Sure, but it
it's
feels different, definitely, when it's an ad.
I think I personally would have been fine if they stopped there. That's just funny to do that. That could be more viral. Hey, is that really Burger King? But the fact they did the video showing their reactions of the streamers, that to me where it gets a little skeevy, because now you're saying, well, we got one over on you, and now we're using it for an ad campaign.
Yeah, and now we're going to we're going to gloat over it.
I personally don't have a problem with them using Twitch's system for a $5 shout out. It's not a sponsorship. It's just a little shout out. that people might say, what the fuck was that about? But yeah, the fact that they're trying to gloat about this being a thing, about, oh, look how weirded out they were that Burger King was a chat. That's, I don't know what are you trying to convey at that point? That you used the loophole, but now you're gloating about using the loophole.
Right, that's what I'm getting at. Like
that's weird.
Definitely like doubling down on, look, we were jerks, we were assholes. These people are uncomfortable with it. It just comes off as kind of gross. Yeah,
they got ratioed, it looked like, almost on it got attention, so that worked. I mean, I don't know if this is more. I mean, I don't know if was this sanctioned by Burger King? Did they say, okay, you're cool with this? Obviously, this is the ad agency saying, look, we did something cool. Because now, I mean, this might open the floodgates to people doing this when streamers. I mean, in general, I don't know. That's why I don't like the automated shit like that, because you can't control it. Because there's some people on YouTube that have it open or whatever, and then the horrific racist stuff comes through, like. That happens because it's automated, unless you block, I guess, all these different words.
It's pointed out that this is from the Kotaku article. Many have pointed out that David and Burger King's campaigns seem to violate Twitch's terms of service, as well as potential agreements streamers might have with brands that consider Burger King a competitor. It was just kind of reckless and irresponsible. Sure. Like I said, without contacting them, you don't know what you are also potentially screwing up for them behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's where it gets a little weird. Not that obviously. If McDonald's is sponsoring you, it's not your fault for doing that. But yeah, it comes off weird. They'd be pissed a little bit there. Yeah, there you go. I mean, you ruin everything with capitalism. Everything gets ruined.
Yes,
like that.
Yes.
I was being facetious, but okay.
No, I'm not.
All right, left wing Ian. What's next? FanDome, our favorite event. That started, which actually seems like it did well for DC this past weekend.
Didn't look like it was awful. I mean, I didn't pay attention to it. No, I mean, it didn't. It looked like it was a bit better than something I would have expected for DC right now. Like I said, I think they did surprisingly come out of it looking okay in a lot of ways. The new Batman teaser looked pretty good. I mean,
I'm excited.
Just a teaser, but I mean, it looked good.
It looks grimy but detective-y, like it's actually going to be a detective story, which we have not had on screen yet, really. Maybe want to say maybe Keaton days a little bit, but that's my biggest complaint with the Nolan movies is like they're like crime dramas. They are not detective stories at all. And this seems to be close to that because you have the Riddler and you have Paul Dano playing the Riddler, and Paul Dano is a fantastic actor, so I'm really curious about see how this
I think he will play I think he'll do that very, very
and
well.
no Joker, thank you. We'll do the Joker every Batman movie or franchise. Let's take a break, let it breathe a little bit. There's so many cool Batman villains. Let's let it. It's all right. He's got like 10. We can cycle it around there. So yeah, Robert Pattinson looks good. People were making fun of him a little because he took the mask off and he had the black around the eyes, which is what the makeup they use. But it was cool that they included that for some realism. Because usually the movies they take it off and there's not there.
No, yeah, I actually noticed that as well, and I thought that was kind of nice that they, it looks
slightly more grounded. Slightly.
I was going to say slightly more grounded. I was going to say realistic, grounded, same thing. It's slight, but it's there.
Slightly.
It's nice to see it.
The cars, the Batmobile's a little bit more realistic. It's based on an existing real car, not the Tumbler, or the hell they called it. So yeah, slightly. So there you go. And Colin Farrell's in there, and you got a Catwoman in there. Colin Farrell's the Penguin. So they're setting the stage, and I think they're gonna. I think like the Gotham police corruption is gonna play the Gotham police corruption has been a part of almost every Batman thing, but it's gonna play, I think, a bigger part in this movie. I got a feeling.
Yes.
And that's what Riddler's gonna be pissed about, and they're gonna tie it to Batman's past probably somehow. I don't know. With his dad, I don't know, but that's what I think was going to happen. You excited for the Suicide Squad?
Whatever happened to Batman's parents?
I don't know, Ian. Hopefully they recap that in this next movie for the 9th time.
Yeah, the Suicide Squad movie. Am I excited about it?
Some sort of the Suicide Squad.
No, I'm not really excited about it, but do I actually think that there's a chance it might be somewhat amusing? Yes, I do think there's a chance it could be amusing. I also think it's going to be a shit show of a run. Like, I mean, the amount of characters that are in the movie.
How many people are in this? Let's see.
It's a lot.
John Cena's in it, so on there. Peter Capaldi's in it. Viola Davis is coming back. Idris Elba, Margot Robbie is coming back. Yeah, James Gunn said something like there's never been a superhero movie like this before, something to that effect. He's saying something like that.
Yeah, I feel like it has to be. It's going to. The movie is going to be a blur. That's all I can think of. With as many characters as that are going to be in it.
Captain Boomerang is back. He was a highlight of the first one. Jay Courtney.
And with the number of characters that are in it and how much they're going to have to introduce, it's just going to be a very, very fast film, is my guess. Yeah, who else we got? So Margot Robbie, Joel Kinnaman, Jai Courtney, Viola Davis, Idris Elba, John Cena, Storm Reed, Nathan Fillion, Peter Capaldi, Taika Waititi, Pete Davidson, Alice Braga, and Michael Rooker.
So they got Joel Kinnaman back as Rick Flag. He was the military leader of the first one, so that's good. So there are a couple coming back. Obviously, you got to get Harley Quinn back because otherwise, no one would see the movie. And then Will Smith didn't want to come back. Originally, they were going to cast Idris Elba in that, but he said, "I don't want to be recast. That's disrespectful. Make me my own character." So
right.
That's what they did that. But it seems like it's kind of the same character. Convicted felon armed with the most weapons. So it's like the same character.
Yeah, Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, Rick Flag, Amanda Waller, Peacemaker, Blackguard, Savant Weasel, Bloodsport, The Thinker, Polka Dot Man, Ratcatcher 2, Javelin, TDK, Mongol, and Salsoria.
So it's like a dozen different supervillain characters that come together. I'm sure they'll kill off a few of them.
And I'm sure a lot of them will have just like...
The Javelin, a German athlete turned supervillain who wields javelins as weapon. I know they're going for the D-listers here that showed up as one-offs in the 50s Superman comics. It's cool, I guess, that they're using some of these. You know, I don't picture Marvel ever doing something like this. You're never going to see the big wheel show up in a movie. Yeah, you know, the big or the roller skating guy, the rocket roller skater that fought Spider-Man. I think it was the same issue actually as the big wheel. All right, I think it's gonna be goofy. What about the Suicide Squad video game? You excited for that at all?
Making Superman evil as a bad guy is kind of...
Is that what they're doing again?
Is fucking lazy as shit. But the game itself, I mean, I watched the trailer. The combat looked interesting. I don't have a lot of interest in it, but I actually have more interest in it than I do the Avengers game that's coming out.
That looks horrible.
In like a week, sorry. I think. It does not look good to me at all.
That looks horrible, that Avengers game. This at least is in the Arkham universe or whatever. So.
Yeah, and it's cooperative. It's four players.
Characters.
So it's 4 players at once, cooperative. So it looks like it's going to be like a dungeon crawl type of game, and I think it could be fun. They're also doing an Arkham Knights. No, what are they called? They're also doing a game based on... They announced the game based on Nightwing and like other members of the Bat family. So that looks like it could be interesting too.
I thought that was this game.
No, I'm fairly certain they're 2 different games.
Oh yeah, you're right. Suicide Squad. Oh, I'm thinking of. Okay, yes. Yeah, I was mixing them up. Yeah, the other one has Batgirl, Red Hood, which is Jason Todd,
yes.
Nightwing, the first Robin, and then I think the 3rd or 4th Robin. I know there's a 4th fucking Robin, but I think there's 3 or... It might be the Tim Drake, the 3rd one. So you get those 4 characters.
That one I don't really know anything about. But yeah, I don't know. The Suicide Squad one could be interesting.
Then Flashpoint movie is confirmed. That's like the reboot of the DC universe. So they're bringing back Affleck. We knew Keaton was going to be in there. They're bringing back Affleck, and they're making a point to say it's emotional. They're going to kill off Affleck's Batman. He's going to sacrifice himself to fucking save the universe or whatever.
Of course.
So it's one last hurrah. I'm glad Affleck's doing it. I'm glad the fans get to see him because there's some fans that love Affleck as a character. I think he's all right from what I've seen. The suit's ridiculous. The CG muscles are ridiculous that they put on and make him look bigger, and that's what they do. I talked to my CG friend. They pump you up a little bit in post. But people like the performance. It's good to see him go out with something, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel anything about his Batman, but at least he'll get to exit the role somewhat gracefully.
Yeah, actually do a movie that isn't a part of an ensemble. Which I mean, it's still be.
It still is.
It's still an ensemble.
Still is.
I have a feeling they'll give him a meatier part though. He'll help out the Flash or whatever, and that's like 2 years away. This stuff was supposed to come out by now. All these movies, like even before the pandemic. The Shazam 2. Coming out, Black Adam, who might face Superman, who will eventually face Shazam in a movie. Those are the other big ones. And then Aquaman 2, and then Wonder Woman 84 is pushed back to... Was it October Wonder Woman 84 pushed back? They released another trailer, even though they already had a final trailer. It was called something else. It was fun. It was like the main trailer. There's been 4 trailers for this movie. When is this coming out? It's not coming out in October. They push it back, October 2nd. If we're back, just sell it online to people. It looks good, I guess. I like the first Wonder Woman. I like Chris Pine in the role. They're both a good pair. I don't know.
It'll probably be fine.
It'll be fine.
Can't not mention Justice League.
Well, that's what everyone was waiting.
Can't not mention Justice League.
We couldn't tiptoe around it.
And the reveal of Darkseid, looking like fucking God of Lincoln of War, like looking like Abraham Lincoln fused with a PlayStation fucking 2.
So they released the trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is throwing out all the Joss Whedon stuff because he reshot like 80% of it or whatever. And it's going to be 4 hours. 4 one-hour episodes they're going to release it as. Not just... That's not the original... See, this is what some people were saying. This isn't the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut was going to be like 3 hours and like 25 minutes or whatever. This is something else. This is using every little shit thing that he shot's going to end up... HBO is going to milk you to watch it for a full month straight, like once a week.
Yeah.
This is the worst case scenario of it. It's not just his vision. It's whatever shit that Snyder even didn't want in the movie anymore. They're going to have you watch.
His vision plus HBO's vision to get as much money out of this as possible. So 4 hours. You're not even really getting your Snyder Cut. I hope the people who have asked for this enjoy it, but...
You'll be getting fucking outtakes of Luther in prison, like brushing his teeth in this. This is ridiculous. I'm not even if it's going to be a good movie, which it won't be. It's ridiculous to have this be 4 hours. It's ridiculous.
And is it really a movie at that point? It's a miniseries. I mean,
now they got to restructure it to like end at every hour, somewhat makes sense. Like a cliffhanger, I guess.
But that's what it's turned into. This is a miniseries.
Yes.
Anything else that was released in 4 one-hour episodes would just be called a miniseries.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Or maxi series, what the fuck you want to call it. Yeah, the trailer looks... I mean, everything's darker. Obviously, we knew that was going to happen, but obviously the Darkseid is going to show up. You're going to get the Martian Manhunter, who was actually the military guy going way back to Man of Steel from 2013. He's in it again. You're going to have, I guess, more cameos of shit go on here, and then obviously it's going to be... Listen, I like the fact that this is coming out in some form. Don't get me wrong. I believe that... Wow, Darkseid looks fucking terrible, and that's the first shot of the trailer.
Darkseid. Yeah, he looks miserable. He looks truly awful.
It's really early PS3 graphics, and I'm really not being cynical. It looks bad.
Yeah, it's not good.
And I know they have time to fix it. They got probably... like they said next year, I guess. First half.
I think that's about a year out.
May June or something, or May, whatever.
Yeah.
It's going to be like 10 months, we'll just say. They got to fix that. They should not have had that in the trailer. It looks unfinished. But you get black suit Superman, yay, because he had a black suit when he came back from the dead in the comics, yay. And then no lippy Henry Cavill, because they were using all the original shots. You get I don't know. I'm glad. I am glad that this is the original vision out, because Richard Donner got screwed over in Superman 2. So
I feel like everyone deserves to have their
everyone
director's cut out there. I just don't feel like it's going to be very good.
I think Steppenwolf has the original voice actor, I believe, in the original design, I believe, because he looked terrible. Speaking of PS3 villains, he looked terrible, that villain. Terrible. And then what's the other biggie? Cyborg actually has a character arc and more to do, because in the movie he had nothing to do. Cyborg. So... I don't know. Ray Fisher fucking hates Joss Whedon publicly. Doesn't even pretend to like the guy. Sounds like a lot of people don't like Joss Whedon. Sounds like a piece of shit.
Joss Whedon sounds like a piece of crap.
But Ray Fisher for the past year has been like basically saying, yeah, this guy's a piece of shit. Like he's basically come out and said he doesn't give a shit. He's like, usually you don't see actors come out like that. Usually they try to keep it on the deal. But yeah, and I'm not sure that's connected to how he stripped the character out of the movie. But I guess on set he probably was a piece of garbage.
Yeah, so. No, I mean, as much as I talk shit about Zack Snyder, I don't think Joss Whedon is a particularly good person.
Oh, no. They're bad for different reasons.
Yes.
And we're seeing it here. Why? I mean, I will watch this at some point. I am curious about this. I have a morbid curiosity about what this is and how extravagantly over the top this is going to be. And how grimdark. Can you sit through a 4-hour grimdark Justice League with minimal jokes, probably? and lots of violence.
No funnies allowed.
Did you see what Zack Snyder said about?
Yeah, I really don't need. I know. God, he is fucking insufferable. He is insufferable.
He basically said, "This isn't the kiddie version of it. This is for grown-ups." Yes, because people that wear bat costumes and blue and red underwear, that's for adults. This shit. Comic books exist because of kids and children. That's the reason they've existed for fucking 80 years in their current form.
I don't care. Make it the adult version if you want. It's just he's so tiresome when he talks about this shit. Like, who is he fucking puffing out his chest to?
This is because I guess someone named Scott Mendelson, who I'm not familiar with, I don't know if he's a critic or not, said Scott Mendelson, that trailer for the Snyder Cut looks like the same movie? ? Lots of deleted scenes from the marketing campaign, but otherwise it looks like alternate takes of existing scenes. A lot will be alternate takes because Joss Whedon reshot stuff, but it will be a lot of different things. Let's not, Then Zack Snyder responded, "You said you enjoyed the theatrical cut of Justice League like you enjoy your Saturday morning cartoons. Well, this is made for grown-ups, so you're not in the demographic." Well, that sounds like someone else. Also, cool of you to comment on a leaked teaser. Whatever, Zach. Okay, whatever. Let's not moral high ground here. You're getting your movie made. Everyone's happy. You're gonna have your whatever your slight redemption arc here that only the hardcore DCU fans care about, which you've already destroyed, by the way, because they're rebooting the universe with a Flash movie. So like it's already destroyed.
He's such a tryhard edgelord. It's insane to see that personality type
made for grown-ups. Then make it an R-rated thing. Then, or
it's just insane to see that kind of attitude in a adult.
This isn't Watchmen.
An adult man.
This is not Watchmen. This is Superman and Wonder Woman. Brightly colored, happy God characters that little kids like and wear underoos of. This is not for adults. It's for everyone. Comic book movies should be. Holy shit. That tweet just sent me somewhere. When I saw that, I was like, this is made for grown-ups. Okay, cool.
He's a pompous ass.
But kids are going to fucking watch this. A lot of kids are going to watch this shit.